out of your hotel room window in the French Quarter and watch a man float by face down. When you see bodies that you last saw in Banda Aceh, Indonesia, and swore to yourself that you would never see in your country, I beat that storm. I was there before it arrived. I wrote it out with people who later died in the Superdome.
Now, the French Quarter was one of the few dry areas of New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina, and that's not all. According to the New Orleans Advocate, Williams also claimed that he got dysentery in New Orleans by accidentally drinking floodwater. But the health director of New Orleans at that time, Brobson Luntz, well, he's quoted as saying that he never recalled a single case of gastroenteritis during Hurricane Katrina or the whole month afterward. Here with reaction, former U.S. Army helicopter pilot who actually did take fire in Iraq. Joining us, and senior military advisor at Concerned Veterans for America, Amber Smith, and president of the Media Research Center, Brett Bozell, is with us. Amber, as somebody who's in the military, who took fire, and now I have the entire story of his helicopter pilot saying, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true, the whole story wasn't true. What's your reaction as somebody who actually did take fire?
When you take fire and it actually hits your aircraft, you don't get it. You are lucky to be alive, and when you land and think about it afterwards, someone was trying to kill you, someone was trying to take your life. That's not something that you have to go back with your other pilots and say, did this happen? Which aircraft was I in? I can't really remember. Someone just tried to kill you. It's very clear, and you don't forget about it.
So in other words, what he said on David Letterman, and I'll play it now, where he got hit with the RPG fire, that's not something you'd make a mistake on. But anyway, here's what he said.
We were in some helicopters. What we didn't know was we were north of the invasion. We were the northernmost Americans in Iraq. 2 of our 4 helicopters were hit by ground fire, including the one I was in.
No kidding.
RPG and AK-47.
What altitude were you hit at?
We were only at 100 feet doing 100 forward knots. We landed very quickly and hard, and we put down, and we were stuck. 4 birds in the middle of the desert, and we were north out ahead of the other Americans. We got hit. We sat down. Everyone was okay. Our captain took a Purple Heart injury to his ear in the cockpit, but we were alone. They started distributing weapons.
So, Amber, it's impossible, in your view, to make that mistake.
That right there was a 10-year lie. That was not a fog of war story. That was a story of a journalist who stole an American soldier's story, who, by the way, was lucky enough to walk away from it alive. And he used it Brian Williams used it as his own for personal gain, career advancement, whatever. He used a story that wasn't his. And now, 12 years later, he's sorry about it because he got caught. But he was happy to ride his ego for the 12 years using that story that wasn't his.
All right, here's his attempt, Brett Bozell, of his bungled apology, which has also become a big issue. Here's what he said on the air the other night.
I want to apologize. I said I was traveling in an aircraft that was hit by RPG fire. I was instead in a following aircraft. We all landed after the ground fire incident and spent 2 harrowing nights in a sandstorm in the Iraq desert. This was a bungled attempt by me to thank one special veteran, and by extension, our brave military men and women, veterans everywhere, those who have served while I did not. I hope they know they have my greatest respect, and also now my apology.
Let me ask you, Brett Bozell, okay, that made it worse for him because it wasn't, I don't think that passed the smell test. What if that apology doesn't go over with the American people and the story on Katrina and dysentery and a man floating face down in an area that wasn't really flooded? What if that turns out to be true? To be a false story, in other words?
Boy, Sean, first, Amber, thank you so much for your service to this country.
Yeah,
We're
amen.
all honored. I'm honored to be on the show with you. But look, Sean, to your question, this whole story is falling apart for Brian Williams. What he said in his apology was that, no, they were following a helicopter that took RPG fire. He took small arms fire. There was a pilot who came on CNN yesterday, Richard Krell, and confirmed that story. The only problem was today Richard Krell backed off that story, and he said, no, maybe not. CNN backed off the story entirely. Up comes a man, Chris Simone, who says he was on the aircraft with Brian Williams. He made some interesting points.
Yeah, he was the pilot, and he said none of that happened.
Yeah, he said none of it happened. They didn't take small arms fire. He said, I was the pilot of that plane. I didn't receive a Purple Heart. As a matter of fact, my ears are just fine. So apparently he's lying about everything. Now throw Katrina on there, and you wonder how in the world was he anchoring the news tonight?
I can't answer that question. And by the way, I share your respect. You were shot at. You did come under fire, Amber, and it's an amazing story of heroism for all our guys that are in the military, and they take on fire every day. All right, let me advance the story a little bit. First, let me ask you both, do you think he should stay on the air? What do you think NBC should do? Amber?
I honestly don't know how he can at this point. He has zero credibility. There's such thing as a journalist integrity. It's part of the job description. I trusted him. The American people trusted him. And it was a breach of trust. It's no longer there. No one's going to watch the show anymore, so I don't see how they can move forward with him.
Brett, what should happen?
There are other witnesses, Sean. There is his cameraman. There's the producer. There's the sound man. They were all with him. How is it that nobody's coming to his side to defend him? No, he cannot stay on the air. He's lost all credibility on that network. As I said last night, the honorable thing for him to do is to resign.
All right, let me ask you then this story, because there's a related story, and it's about a presidential candidate. Hillary Clinton claimed in Bosnia that she came under sniper fire. It wasn't true. Watch this.
We just ran with our heads down to get into the vehicles to get to our base.
Those of us on the trip know that didn't happen. Instead, she was welcomed by children. Clinton told newspaper editors yesterday she was tired.
That's what I said when I was sleep deprived. You can read my book, and I said something very different. Yeah, I misspoke.
But she told the story over and over.
Because they said there might be sniper fire.
All right, Amber, sleep deprived, I misspoke. What's more important in terms of a job, being an anchor or being a president? Should that matter?
No, absolutely. Being in politics matters. Integrity matters. And when you're running for president, I think look what's happened over the past 6 years. You want a leader, someone who is honest and has integrity. You don't want someone who's going to fabricate these stories for personal gain. It doesn't make any sense.
Brent Pozell?
To believe Hillary Clinton is to believe that every single time she gave a speech where she lied, where she told that story, she was sleepy. No, it doesn't work. That was a lie.
Yeah, so do you think it will have an impact on the campaign? Now, you and I have followed a lot of campaigns together. You think this will, if Brian Williams has to step down, will this now become a bigger issue for her?
Well, it should be. There should be a conversation. There should be a conversation about all candidates when they lie publicly. I think they should be held to account, yes.
All right. Thank you both for being with us. Amber, thank you for your service, and we're glad you made it after being hit as you were. Thank you so much. And Brent, good to see you. Brent Pozell. Now, when we